That's Kat,
That's Ian.
and this is 404.
Script not found.
That's perfect. Like a terrible voice message. I love it.
Hi, Ian. Welcome to 404. How's your week been?
What? I'm wonderful, Catherine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm planning Cisco Live things right now, as you are. I'm getting really excited. Hopefully, we can do another live podcast and it'll be a little bit better.
In the name of continuity in this show, Catherine, a few weeks ago I called you a weed.
And how could we forget?
How could we ever forget? I want you to know that you're also a unicorn, though.
Stop. See, your dogs even hate it. Your dogs even hate what you're saying.
I was proud of this one.
Oh my God. All right. So why don't you give us background on why you would call me that?
Yeah, so today we're talking unicorns and what makes a unicorn at work. And this stems from I've talked previously. I had a book at my bedside table that I wasn't great about reading, but I finished it. And
Let's
the book
go.
is Be the Unicorn: 12 Data-Driven Habits That Separate the Best Leaders from the Rest. Shout out to William Vanderbloemen. I don't know if I'm saying your last name right, and if I'm not, I'm sorry. It was a wonderful read. And I would tell you it's worth reading whether you're a leader or not, because I think it highlights a lot of attributes that make people who are like top performers it shapes why they are the way they are.
Okay. So I have
And I think
a
you're one
couple.
of them, for the record.
That is so nice after the weed of it all. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So that's gonna pick up my week. Can you explain like the core premise? You're define a unicorn for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a top, like it is what you think it is. Like I think it's like the one in a million, like the top performer, the star who can do it all. Someone who's sound operationally, innovative, on top of their stuff, self-motivated. And we can go through kind of like the 12 things that William talks about in the book that make up a unicorn, or at least hit on a few of them. But I think so some of them are things that I think like you would think, like if I had you list 12 attributes, I bet you would get at least, I don't know, maybe half of these. Um, but I think the book that this is not a paid episode, by the way, but I have no idea who this guy is. I plan on tagging him on LinkedIn and hoping he engages. Uh, he does a really cool job of like, hey, this is the attribute. These are the characteristics, or like the supporting, characteristics of that attribute. And then like, here it is in the real world. Like, here's a leader or a person who exemplifies this and how they do it in like a case study manner, which to me like helps like see it live.
Okay, I'm very curious what these 12 are. Can we hit like top 5?
I think
Your
like
favorite.
I'll kind of like lump a few together. I think
Okay.
mobility is like a big characteristic. Meaning, like, being highly responsive, like, that you're able to, you don't have to sit there and give an answer every time. I think that's what a lot of people get, like, analysis paralysis. You get a WebEx ping. You have absolutely no idea. This happened to me yesterday, to be honest with you. I got a question from a rep. I had no idea what the answer was. Don't sit on that. Like, reply to them instantly and be like, "Hey, I don't know the answer, but I'm gonna go try to find out the answer. Stay tuned, and I'll get back to you by end of day." Like, that's at least
That's
show
awesome.
that's
Well, I didn't
awesome.
know if that was the best I didn't know if that was the best practice or not because
Yeah.
I do that. I'm very quick to say I don't know, but I'll figure it
Well, I
out
don't
or
think
I'll
the
try
"I
to
don't know"
figure it out.
part here is part of the being a unicorn, but it's more on the responsive nature of, like, you're showing that, like, you value that person enough to, like, give them a response, and that you own your business enough to, like, "Hey, I'm willing and able to reply right now. I'm accountable for this." And it's like you get known as the person who like kind of keeps things moving, even if it's not in your domain.
Okay, I think that's a good one. I think responsiveness is obviously really important, and the most frustrating people for me to work with, especially now because I work closer to sales like you do, are people who don't respond quickly because the nature of sales is respond quickly.
Right. Exactly.
Alright, what's another one?
Um, I think like, and this one's kind of like self-explanatory, right? Is like being coachable. Um, on like looking for, seeking out feedback, actually, like, listening to the feedback and implementing it in your own career. Um, Feedback is a gift, right? It's not someone being critical of you, it's something you should be seeking out. It's we work in a professional environment, it's not a personal indictment on you. It is more of, like, you being open and willing and able that, like, wanting to grow as a person and a professional and, like, seeking out the areas or gaps that you have, and I think the unicorns are the ones who view feedback that way and, like, seek it out.
Yeah, I think you have to, because otherwise you're not going to keep being the unicorn if you're not getting feedback. You're not fine
Yes.
tuning your skills, then you're not going to keep that special skill set that you have.
Yeah. Another
Okay.
one that you're doing a great job of on this podcast is staying curious.
Thank you. I am always curious. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious on this question for you. Do you think most people want to be unicorns or they just want the rewards, the after effects that come with it? Because I feel like being a unicorn requires quite a bit of work inside yourself and then also, like, inside your job, you know?
Yeah,
What are
I
your
mean,
thoughts?
it's a great question I don't have an answer to, but it's a good discussion for us to have. If I had to hazard a guess, I would imagine it's a little bit of a bell curve, right? With, like, a lot of people wanting to be relatively, like, sufficient and capable and, like, hey, like, they prioritize whether it's work-life balance or just, like, I'm good where I'm at. Like, I got to a place at work in my career that I'm happy with the income and the balance and whatever I have, and it's all manageable. And I think that there are people who, like, want to continue to, like, seek things out. I think I would tell you there's probably a lot more people maybe who want to be a unicorn than are willing to put in, like, the work to be a unicorn. And some of these are, like, soft skills that, like, I don't wanna say you have, but, like, you have to, like, work on without intentionally working on them, like exposing yourself to things or being, like, motivated enough to seek out feedback or ask questions.
In one of the top 12 attributes that they have is I know you said response mobility, is communication one of them?
It's split up amongst, like, several of them. I would tell you it's like a sub characteristic or a characteristic of a lot of them, meaning, like, what being, like, candid is, like, there's another book you should go read, Radical Candor. Like, being candid with feedback and understanding that, like, clarity is kindness, that's good communication, right? So, being able to, like, get those reps in and be able to understand that, like, yes, this is not a comfortable conversation, but being able to deliver the message clearly, we're dying.
Clearly.
Um, and like that it's like a sign of mutual respect, right? Like that's a good thing within the realm of communication for sure. Um, yeah. Why do
Were
you
there
ask?
well, I feel like that's just the top one, like, you have to be good at communicating, hearing communication, active listening, all of
Yeah, I
those.
think that ties in, like I said, like being highly responsive, right? Like being coachable, staying curious. Like it's kind of in a lot of these inherently, but I don't think it's like its own attribute. Yeah.
We did 2 really interesting case studies in classes this weekend where there she goes talking about her MBA again.
No,
I
let's
can't
go.
be stopped. And it's a leading and managing course, so it's all about leading teams, managing tasks, like the difference between the 2, etcetera. And one of the cases that we did was a woman in an investment banking firm who can't get to the next level and keeps seeing that she's getting passed up for promotions when she's probably the best at her job but hasn't built any relationships. And she noticed that her peers has relationships with those above her and across the organization. And I think that's such an important part of being a unicorn because you can be very, very good at the analytical, do your work side of things. But if you're not great at communicating, at relationship building, it's very hard to succeed. Not even
For
from a
sure.
leadership perspective, but like cross functionally across teams, you can't.
Yeah, I think we see that a lot here, right?
Yeah. Sheesh. I mean, yeah, Ian, tell them how you really feel.
I don't know. I think large organizations that becomes like a lot more of a challenge day to day.
Were there any in the book? that surprised you or changed the way you think about being a high performer, or were they all pretty much something you would guess?
I don't wanna say they're all, like, things you could guess because like, they do a good job of kind of, like, quantifying them, and, like, they each have, like, a, like, brand, like, like, the anticipator, the solver, the agile, so, like, I don't wanna say I could have, like, guessed them all. I think the candid would be, like the candid one stood out as, like, being like, to me, that's the like, it does make a good communicator, but I also think of, like, people I consider, like, unicorns are great who I don't and maybe it's just more of, like, a rep-based thing that I don't necessarily, like, instantly think, like, "Oh, they have that talent, so maybe they're not a unicorn." Um, but, like, yeah, I think they're all reasonably within that realm, like, I think in the last the thing I would tell you in all of this is, like, think beyond your job description, right? Like, being able to identify, like, your job is what you get paid to do, the things beyond it are what get you promoted and identified as, like, a star person in your workplace, uh, is kind of like the way that you get ahead and the way you get viewed this way. And I think that's really the way that I would, like, encapsulate a lot of these things under that umbrella of, like, it's all beyond your, like, day-to-day stuff. Like, doing your day-to-day stuff at a acceptable level is not what a unicorn is. It's going above and beyond all of that. I'm doing a
Last
terrible job answering your questions today, I feel like.
I think you're doing a great job. I'm hanging on the edge of my seat. They're great answers. I have one thought, one question.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book. It's called Start With Yourself. Do you know who Emma Grede is?
No, but I'm interested.
So Karina and I are obsessed with her. We're
Oh,
reading the
this is
book
the book she put on her story. Alright, well, I was like, I'm a little upset. I might
because
have
you didn't
beef
get
with you,
included.
and I wasn't invited to book club.
And we'll talk about that and we'll circle back and see if you can get the invite on the next one.
I can't
But
get in on this one? I'm a fast reader.
I I'll send you the book. It's really good. But she's incredible. She's the co-founder of Good American, Skims, Kris Jenner's,
Okay.
cleaning supplies company, like, she's incredible, but she has a really interesting perspective, and she gets in trouble a lot in the news because she's really comfortable saying that she doesn't spend that much time with her kids. She's like, I don't do pickup, I don't go to the PTO, I'm not volunteering at school, I don't have time to do that, I'm building a business, and I spend really quality time with them where I can, but this takes me back because she's 1,000% a unicorn, look what she's done, and she advocates so hard for work ethic and devoting yourself to work if that's something that's important to you. It's not important to everyone, doesn't have to be important to
No, and
everyone,
that's where back to
but
your question, I do agree with that.
yeah. I thought it was super interesting. I will send you the link. You can read the book with us. We have book club on Friday. We'll be meeting during lunch. You're welcome to come.
I
That's a
would
good
love to.
episode. Whenever we finish it, we can bring Karina and we can all talk about Start With Yourself.
Yeah. I'd be curious if, like, you have other attributes we haven't covered off on around, like, what do you think makes a unicorn, even, like, thinking within our own workplace that we haven't mentioned here today.
I noticed you said agility. I think someone who's solution oriented is a unicorn because it's very easy to bring problems. We talk about this a lot and we talk about
That
managing
is
that.
one of them, actually.
I believe that.
You should always bring a
Um,
solution to a problem.
and then I think, like I said, I think relationship building has to be incredibly important and part of it, or the ability to build trust quickly because then you can do business together.
Being highly responsive, like, that creates trust. Finishing what you start, another thing that creates trust. Um, Bringing solutions, like, obviously, they need to be good solutions, but creates trust. Being adaptable, making it like, all of these have, like, elements of that underneath for sure.
Would you recommend this book to everyone, to leaders, to individual contributors? Who would you
But,
recommend it?
yeah, no, I think, like, truly, again, I don't know this man, I get nothing from this. It's a good read, and I always joke, I go back and forth, I don't know if how often do you read, like, business books or, like, professional, I guess, nonfiction?
Not to be a loser, but I'm always reading at least one.
Okay, pretty good.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think I probably read like 15 a year, but
okay,
it takes
that's
me a
really
long
good.
time. Yeah.
You've gotten me smoked here, which is ridiculous that we're doing an episode of me doing a book report then.
We
Uh,
can do it next time we can go I have a ton I read them all the time. I can do I have a ton.
I probably buy more than you because it takes the smallest inkling of a book being at all valuable to me. Like, we had Sammy Renner on 2 weeks. Guess who bought Never Settle or whatever the book was? Never Split
Never
the
Split the
Difference.
Difference?
Never
Which
Split the
one?
Difference. I own that now.
Have you not read that?
Nope, that episode cost me 19.99.
Okay, that's a great book. It's the FBI
Yep,
interrogator,
yep,
right? Phenomenal. It is so
yeah.
oh, yeah, duh, because we talked about negotiations.
I love buying a book. I have a love-hate relationship with reading them. Like, all it takes, and I've said this before, all it takes is one bad, like, business book, and I'm in trouble. Because then it's like, you need that next book to be, like, the perfect book for me, and if it's not, I get heavy, heavy. I'll go to Agatha Christie in a heartbeat. I turn into a murder mystery. Yeah.
Okay, so the unicorn has Ian's stamp of approval. I think
Yup.
this is a great testimony. That right there was radical candor. There's a plug for the next book we'll talk about. And that's all for this week. Thanks for listening. If you like the episode, please rate, review, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Until next time.
Thank you for listening.